What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, a.k.a. Austin Creed.
I said give me a hell yeah!
Hey, this is Zeta Zay.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Talent is not sexually transmitted.
You need to go back to the drawing board because your game absolutely sucks!
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I'm Lewis Howley. I'm Sam Scotia. We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Czar, the NXT UK champion, and you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
Is the Wrestling Podcast. Stancy, Romoran, Chino Liao, and Emil ASH at your service on the 20th of April. Happy 420, gentlemen.
Happy 420. Yes, we are in studio, Mon. We were talking shit like the entire 3 or so minutes. Wala pala kaming audio. Hindi kami sinabihan ng aming mga babyface producer.
Kina-turn sila bigla eh.
Yeah.
What an auspicious start on the 20th of April. This is how we blaze it up at the PNA Studios.
By the way, people are surprised that we are in the studio. That just tells me you were not paying attention or you did not listen to the previous episodes where we talked about this, where we announced that we were going to be in the studio.
Yeah, we recorded an episode with Yappy earlier here at the PNA Studios. That should be in your Spotify feeds or your podcast feeds by Monday next week. So watch out for that. And while we're at promoting stuff, Babyface producer Jasper, please put up the first slide. Let's invite everyone to our 9th anniversary special happening right here at the PNA Studios on Sunday, April 23. Tickets are still available at 200 pesos each. Murang-mura lang. Like we were saying, nung hindi pala naka-on yung mic namin, meron kami pa-shawarma, may pa-coffee, may pa-crepes pa kami. So, sobrang sulit yung 200 pesos nyo. Syempre, you can also come by, hang out with us, ask us anything like si Emil, kamusta bang buhay ASH? Binubuli ka ba ni na Ro and Chino and Stan? The answer is no, by the way. But, you can ask us questions like that at the live podcast recording on Sunday.
Yeah,
you can ask us anything wrestling related,
that's
diba? Like if you have a booking in your mind that's been plaguing you, diba? You want a podcaster's opinion, why not throw that our way, diba? Ask Ro anything about being a wrestler, diba? Ask Stan and I about our wrestling fan opinions. Rowan and Emil, ask them about their opinions as well.
Yeah, kung gusto nyo makipagdebate kina Rowan and Emil, pwede rin. Challenge nyo sila for their seat on the podcast.
Pag natalo nyo sila, bibigay namin sa inyo.
Alam mo yung sa Mortal Kombat, yung may ladder, pag single player ka. So Emil and Rowan are at the bottom of the ladder. If you get past them, you take on the rest of us.
Yeah. Good luck doing that. So all of that and more on Sunday. Kita-kita tayo dito sa PNA Studios. We're gonna be opening gates at like 6 p.m. So sakto lang yung pagdating ng crepes, coffee, and shawarma. Dinner tayo together and then, take pictures, just hang out. Have a great time right here as we celebrate 9 years of the Wrestling Podcast.
Pwede din kayo mag-drop ng live comments during the podcast.
Yeah.
Actually, people are doing right now.
Yeah. No, we did do that last time. The last time we celebrated live, all the way back before the pandemic, the before time. So if you've never been to one of those or to that one, kasi yun lang ang ginagawa natin before.
Sa most pa yun.
Sa most. You're in for a fun experience, a fun recording experience with all of us on Sunday.
Yeah, at the very least, you get to be part of the ambient noise. So, masasabi nyo na, uy, yung pag-cheer ko narinig sa podcast. Diba? So, you have that. Again, tickets are at 200 pesos. Go to pnalive.com. We're literally the first event that you see on the site.
If ever, worst case scenario, ito na yung grand eyeball ng mga Rowanites. So, kung mga Rowanites dyan, gusto nyo makita si Rowan in person, the people's champion, drop by on Sunday.
Magugulat kayo, malaking bulas pala yung bata.
And then, if you can take him, you can challenge him for his one of many belts.
Yeah, he has so many belts.
Since we're promoting stuff here, we'll also let Emil do his thing and let you know about how you can be part of our ever-growing Wrestling Podcast patron community.
All right, so if you want to get the full Wrestling Podcast experience, you can do that by subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/Wrestling Podcast. where you can subscribe for as low as $5 or your local currency. It's around 275 pesos. You can join our Discord community when you join our Patreon, where we talk about anything and anything under the sun. Of course, we talk about wrestling, but we also talk about sports, food, memes, sports, so anything. And if you want to interact with your fellow kapodcasts, you could do that there in our Discord community.
Yes, sir.
Also, we have our pasabays, where the last one we just had a couple of weeks ago.
Parating
and,
na, guys. Parating na for our
Yes.
patrons who are part of the
Yes.
pasabay.
So if you want to be a part of the next one, which is not too far off the man, no. So if you want to get your authentic WWE, AEW, or any other wrestling merch that you want, you can get it through us. Also, we have the review content of the weekly wrestling shows like Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and Dynamite, and also some local wrestling shows as well. Rowan has been doing a good job of putting out reviews for the action novella episodes of the MWF recently. And by subscribing to our Patreon, you're supporting everything that we do here on the podcast. So please subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/wrestling podcast for as low as $5.
All right, let's get to some stuff from outside the ring. Babyface producer Jasper, let's get to that next slide because AEW has greenlit a third TV show. So apparently its title is going to be Collision or AEW Collision. It'll be a 2-hour show on Saturday night. And according to the reports, may brand split din sila. So more AEW wrestlers can be featured. And kasi raw yung parang pinaka-anchor nitong show na to is CM Punk. So as we know, meron pa ring konting tension, konting sama ng loob in the locker room. They kind of want to ease that by really enforcing this brand split here. So what do you guys think about having a third show and having a brand split? Kasi sobrang daming implications nito, di ba?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll default. It's tough. It's really tough. It's like Tony Khan has no self-awareness of how much content he's putting out, and I don't think he expects people to watch everything that happens on TV. Pero parang pinipilit niya yung content niya to make sure that it is the option you watch. Like, don't watch the competitors, watch us, because we have so much and we have so much of your favorite guys. So that's a strategy here. Pero if you are like us who don't really assign or ascribe to one tribe, diba? It's going to be tough to try to keep up with everything. And I already know that a lot of us will be having a hard time. As for the brand split, though, I have been pulling for this for quite a while now. I originally wanted the brand split to be between AEW and Ring of Honor. Pero I guess okay na rin to because the two brands have pretty much the same roster. They just appear on different shows. So the idea of a brand split itself is great because it helps you compartmentalize who is where, who is competing in which part of the AEW continuity, the multiverse. Diba? Do we talk about this now? I just don't think the brand split is the solution to the whole CM Punk drama. So what do you guys think?
I like the idea of the brand split kasi for all the reasons mentioned. Gives the guys more time on air. But at the same time, I'm also thinking about all the other ideas Tony Khan threw up in the air dati. Diba? Weren't they supposed to come up with their own ladies-only show?
Oo nga.
Weren't they supposed to come up with an ROH TV product?
Ano naman? No.
Pero nasa R, you gotta pay for it. Like, it's not on...
Yeah, but that's because of the network.
Diba? Yeah, exactly. So parang sa akin lang, what is the end goal here? Is it just to put out more content?
No. The end goal nga is, according to mga haka-haka, is to put CM Punk in a place where he can do his own thing, and then ideally, quote unquote, this part is not as confirmed, but compartmentalize the people who are okay with Punk on his show. So parang it's a fiefdom for him.
Yeah, syempre investment pa rin yan, di ba? If you're Tony Khan, nagbayad ka kay CM Punk, di ba? Nag-invest ka, you still want to make an ROI. So in that respect, gets ko naman.
Yeah, but then it's also giving Punk more power than you need to, diba? Kasi he's not the most stable guy. We already know this, and yet you're giving him free reign over this whole brand, diba? Paano pag tinopak yan ulit? Sorry for the term. Right? Paano pag tinopak yan ulit and then he fucking just loses his shit again? What happens to the show? Diba? Maapektuhan din yung wrestlers na kasama niya yun, diba?
Ikaw, Emil, you're a young buck.
For me, you know, I have to agree with bro. The brand split is a good idea because lumalaki na yung roster ng AEW, but at the same time, for them to do a brand split just to cater to CM Punk sends a message to the entire locker room that this guy who's caused us so much trouble is much more important to the rest of the roster na gagawin nila to just for him. So for me, like at onset pa lang, if there's still issues between Punk and the roster, then I don't want him to be back. Like yun na muna unahin nila before they can think of ideas of how to circumvent that and think of ways na they can all be happy. Like you can't be all happy. Like, you need to deal with this first before you could progress with anything brand split related.
You want to know how they solve the CM Punk problem? They're gonna turn it into an all access episode. That's what's going to happen.
I'm sure they will. That is actually not out of the question.
I mean, they've alluded to it in the first episode.
You joke about it.
I mean, we saw the first episode. They alluded to it. Eto, question from Martin, our friend. Yes, friend of the podcast, Martin Vicencio. Investments aside, when do you think that investment will sour most of the investments you already have?
I think it already has.
Yeah.
It already has. I think it's not a stretch to believe people when they say that they are tired of him and they kind of don't want him. Like you might think of it as like dirt sheet drama that could be fabricated, but is it really hard to believe that people don't want to work with someone like that in their locker room, diba? So Martin has a point here. This will make a schism. This has already made a schism, and Tony Khan has lost control by allowing this toxicity to fester instead of actually dealing with it.
Saka for me, generally talaga it's a bad idea because it will only create further division in a locker room where ever since the brawl out, all we want to do is for that locker room to be united again before all the CM Punk stuff happens. So pag ginawa mo to, mas madidivide pa yung locker room, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Parang kung may nagsabi na lahat naman ng locker room di naman united, lahat naman ng company di naman sila laging united. So you can expect that from every institution.
Parang sinabi mo niya din, lahat naman ng politiko corrupt eh. Boto na natin yung pinaka-corrupt, diba?
Look at you making a pretty woke take there.
Hey, I didn't vote for the guy, so
Bruce is asking, will this third show be an equivalent to a developmental? No, it's a brand split. Pay attention, Bruce.
It's a literal brand.
It's a brand. It's a second brand. It is the SmackDown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, it's a big time slot, like 8 p.m. on a Saturday night.
2 hours pa siya.
Pero diba usually Saturdays is kind of dead spot for TV.
Tell that to the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, there are pay-per-views that also PLEs that now take place on a Saturday.
UFC pay-per-view.
UFC's started the pay-per-views on a Saturday. So, ang hope ni Tony Khan is that he puts out a product that can rival a PLE or a pay-per-view.
So, that must mean that AEW will only stick to Sunday pay-per-views from now on?
I think that has been the thing.
Yeah,
that's been their MO.
Yeah.
Joem says AEW needs a JBL or a hardcore to keep the locker room in check, sir. Those are the two worst examples that you can come up with when it comes to keeping the peace in the locker room.
Ako masasabi ko, based on yung mga nababasa nating kwento, I'd like to think that people like Jericho, Mox, and Brian have done a good job. For what it's worth, for what they've been able to do to keep the locker room together. I'd like to think those are the adults you need in a locker room.
But then they can only do so much. If upper management, aka Tony Khan, refuses to act upon it, then there's only so much that wrestlers in the lock. Kasi hindi naman sila yung boss diba? They're just a peer there,
I mean, we know that firsthand. We've been in locker rooms like that.
If I were a guy in Tony Khan's locker room, the fact that your solution is to just put on a second show, throw more money at the problem, and not actually deal with the problem tells me a lot. Syempre, it's all business. It's all money. It's all about the money, but it is really more about the money here than it is about our welfare, which you did say you were concerned about, diba? So that's not a good look as a person as a person that's part of the show.
Yeah, it looks like TK is pulling from the Notorious B.I.G. playbook. More money, more problems. Not a good thing, to have all those problems with all that money. Any other thoughts on AEW Collision before we get to our first break?
I'm not gonna pretend that I watch everything, but having another 2 hour show, probably that's gonna be tough on people who on the wrestling diet, because it's just another day, another 2 hours to add to the wrestling diet. I don't. Maybe some will watch it. It's really gonna depend on the execution of the first 3 episodes. If it's gonna be great, then maybe you could get a lot of people on board with it. But the crucial thing is, if they parang let down yung mga first episodes, it could be like just a second rate Rampage.
Also, to add to that, if this pushes through, he effectively kills Ring of Honor on Honor Club. Even though not everyone already catches it, most will catch it.
Nobody, you have to pay to watch it.
Oh, no.
Already hurts,
You
diba?
can sail the high seas as well. Pero no matter who you are, if you're watching it, especially, it's going to make it even harder to catch it, because you now have this other show that is on paper more important in canon than Ring of Honor, diba? So, or than Rampage even. So pipili ka. So, diba, ano yung ano? I know that TK thinks that by putting a lot of things on the plate, he wants you to choose his food, but it also kind of cannibalizes his other stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So that's it on AEW Collision. Let us know what you think in the comment section. In the meantime, we'll take a break. And when we return, we'll talk about Drew McIntyre and Kota Ibushi. But first, a quick word from our other kapodcasts right here on Podcast Network Asia. Let's get to our next talk point here, and that is the absence of Drew McIntyre. Let's put up that slide there, babyface producer Jasper. Drew McIntyre hasn't been seen on TV since WrestleMania, so may ibang sources on the internet na nagsasabi na natapos daw yung contract niya. May nagdi-dispute naman, sinasabi na the contract is nowhere near over at this time. All we know is if you go to his Twitter, black yung picture niya, and then yung last tweet niya was from April 3, right after WrestleMania, na may waving emoji. So that's all we know.
I gotta say, the whole blackout the Twitter thing is super corny now. Super corny na niya.
Yeah, Becky Lynch did it as well.
Huh?
Si Becky, ganun din.
Yeah, no.
She was making fun of that.
Ginagawa niya.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
So yeah, that was good by Becky. But yun nga, it shows, the fact that Becky made fun of it shows you how played out it is. But yes, I don't know what to say about this. Kasi on the one hand, we were talking about this off in a Discord, diba? So it sounds pretty silly for Drew McIntyre to take his ball and go home, especially after the fact that he already achieved what he set out to achieve. He became champion
twice.
Twice. Diba? He became the biggest champion in the biggest company in the world. And then you hold out because you don't like where you are right now. It is in a way understandable, but also in the big picture, it's also silly. But you also have to remember that the spot that he wants is the spot that, in theory, makes the most money. So I guess you can not fault the guy for wanting to be able to provide the best way he can, diba? Especially if he wants to start a family, right? At the same time, I don't know what's happening. It could all be a work. It could be just him doing all of this for leverage. I don't really know. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him in other places. Diba? We've seen it before. He's done the Indies. He's done Impact. It was nice that WWE rewarded him for coming back, but I don't think that is the be-all, end-all for his career.
before you guys chime in, I gotta add na merong ibang reports that are saying that he worked WrestleMania while injured.
Yeah.
Na may iniinda rin siya ngayon. So, it could be that. Maybe they're just keeping
Ba't siya
him off of
nag-blackout?
TV. Hindi na natin alam yun.
Babay.
Hindi ko na alam yun. Ang alam ko na, yun nga, even heading into WrestleMania, may reports na injured daw siya.
On one hand, I can get what Ro was saying. And yeah, I agree with it. But on the other hand, also from the WWE's perspective, dapat i-acknowledge din nila yung value ni Drew McIntyre because he was champion during the Thunderdome era, and that's not an easy thing to do, diba?
Yep.
To put yourself over with 0 people in attendance, diba? So parang kailangan, I mean, yes, pinag-champion siya ulit after that as a thank you and all that. But then, for you to just have the guy hold the fort down when nobody was there should count for something.
Yeah.
Diba? It should count for the hard work that he put into coming back to the WWE and the hard work that it entailed for him to be champion during that dark time in wrestling history. I am also a fan of Indie Drew. Doon ako actually na-impress sa kanya. But if he wants to, if he wants to think of his future, I think the WWE should come up with ways to make a compromise. Kasi sayang din siya.
Yeah. It should be noted, sorry, Emil, before you chime in. It should be noted as well that the rumor is that he's either concerned about his creative or his money. So if you can't give him the creative, give him the money.
So I don't really see Drew McIntyre leaving WWE kasi he has already done the indie work. I mean, when he first left, he already done the rounds throughout the different promotions. So for me, I think they just have to give him his bag because he deserves it. I mean, he did carry WWE through the pandemic. And also, I just think he's just taking time off. The time off lang siya because he has been sick, injured, whatever it is na was reported over the last few months or so. So baka nagpapahinga lang and he will eventually return bago siguro mag Money in the Bank or SummerSlam.
It's also interesting na nangyari itong news na to before the draft. Because if the draft happens and he isn't drafted, it'll be very telling.
Yeah, we're like 4 weeks away from the draft, diba?
2 weeks away.
2 weeks long.
Oh, shucks, 2 weeks away.
Yeah,
Sorry.
starting it on the 28th.
It has been a blur. So
that's the Friday SmackDown next week.
Yep.
All right. So yeah.
Next week na pala. Sorry, yun na pala.
Yun, place your bets in the comments where you think Drew McIntyre will go. Ano ba siya? Like, is he a first round draft pick for you guys? Are you sending him back to Raw, keeping him on SmackDown? What do you want Drew McIntyre to do post WWE draft? Let us know. As we move on to our next bit here, which is about Kota Ibushi naman. Let's put that slide up. And he actually spoke to Dark Puroresu Flosion, which apparently has some good credibility around wrestling circles because they were able to interview Kota Ibushi, and he implied that he and Kenny Omega have been talking about his health, kung kaya ba niyang mag-get in touch with Tony Khan. So ano to, is Kota Ibushi gonna be all elite anytime soon?
Yun naman talaga yung expectation when he left NJPW. Like, where else could he go? He's already done Japan. Like, he's already a factor. The thing that he did after leaving New Japan was to try and come and work a show in the US, diba? So I think that is the next thing he really wants to conquer full time. It's only a matter of when, not if. And I think we'll see it before the year is over.
Yeah, and ever since someone he left NJPW, AEW always seems to be like the number one spot as to where people were predicting where he's gonna head. It makes sense then. Like, it fits. He has relationships there with Kenny, with the Bucks, and he also worked the first All In show, which that base is parang show zero ng AEW. So it's, again, like Rose said, it's only a matter of time whether it's only a matter of time before Kota makes his AEW debut.
Yeah, gusto ko lang sabihin kawawa si Takeshita. He just got the spot, man. At least let him finish the story out.
Oh no, I
think we'll have space for both.
Yeah. I have feelings about that Takeshita one, but not now.
Yeah, I mean, Takeshita's now involved with the Elite. I mean, I think they can make room for another Japanese guy. Hindi naman exclusive to one Japanese import yung Elite eh. Ano to, PBA na isa lang import mo.
So,
diba?
bakit? Nagkita si Michael Nakazawa, diba? So,
diba? Yun naman pala eh. May nakasawa na sila. Di dalawa, di pwede magkatatlo, diba? All right, let's move on here to Raw, and let's start off with the Bloodline and the Judgment Day cutting a deal. And it was actually refreshing to see these two major heel factions working together and telling the other to take their enemies out and seeing what they can do in the end. Even though nung main event spot on Raw, talagang medyo cluster F na kasi lahat sila nandun na talaga. So, what do you think about this this collusion between the Bloodline and the Judgment Day?
It's very Attitude Era-like, where like, and also it gives the audience the concept na everyone on the roster can interact with each other. Hindi lang yung they're only isolated with their own feuds. So very refreshing. Very something new. We got something new from Raw, and down the line I wish we will get this more.
Yeah. This is one of the things that prove that Vince isn't controlling the show. So I guess I feel like I have to say that every week because someone's gonna think now, okay, Vince is still booking the show. But when you have an overarching story like that, a super refreshing. The fact that you never expected the Bloodline to interact with the Judgment Day. They're both heels, diba? So them actually coming out in front of everyone and some sort of strangely cutting a deal about their opponents in front of everyone, and not actually doing it behind closed doors. It was funny, but it was pretty cool to see because I feel like it showed you that, okay, these are the possibilities of storytelling that we can have now. And salamat Papa Tito Hunter for all of that, diba?
Yeah. Sorry, were you done?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, exactly. Great storytelling on the WWE's part. Like, even the microaggression from Rhea and Solo was pretty fun to watch, diba? They really are making mommy look like mommy.
Yeah, people want to see them fight.
Yeah, exactly, diba?
Give the people what they want.
Who, in what world will that happen? Hindi upahan si Rhea Ripley. But then here, apparently, people want to see it happen. So, kudos to the WWE for really experimenting with the creative here, because it's not anything you expected to see na parang may interaction yung heel factions, and even the idea of stable feuds is not anything that we've seen in a while. So the fact that we're getting it right now in the year of our Lord 2023 is very, very entertaining.
Plus, my favorite part about all of this is it subverts the wrestling trope of kalaban mo lang yung ka-feud mo. Yun lang. Whereas, the reality is we live in a world where we all interact and connect with one another. Yes. So in a way, it kind of acknowledges how wrestling, just like in real life, has people where you're tangentially related or connected, and you acknowledge that. And they actually made that happen on TV for us.
To be fair, and this is, I know I sound like Triple H's PR person now, but if you haven't been watching Raw lately, like in the past, ilang months ba si Triple H?
9 months.
9 months. Oh, maybe na siya. This has been happening. The whole what you mentioned about people interacting with other people who they're not feuding with. It's been happening. It's been fun. That's what makes it. That's what makes WWE TV pretty fun lately. And I like that they found a way to make it make sense. They found a way to anchor this entire episode of Raw on this premise na you do this for us and we'll do this for you, and then we do something new that the audience hasn't really seen from WWE before. I just have a problem with, again, the whole page out of Tony Khan's playbook where he does the run-ins from the other factions. There's a faction gang war, and it's all full of skirmishes. That part hasn't been ironed out completely yet. Hindi pa siya perfect, but the idea was there, the effort, the thought was there, and I appreciated that a lot.
Plus, I like the detail during that segment on Raw where the Usos didn't know about the short-term partnership. Yeah, and he only informed Solo.
Oh yeah.
So it adds story. It adds more layers to the ongoing story. Now Roman is maybe icing out the Usos now because they have lost the tag team titles. There,
icing out.
Yeah, so yun, sobrang sobrang galing na.
Let's stick to Raw here and talk about Trish Stratus, who wants your gratitude. She just wants you to say Thank you, Trish. Was her explanation satisfying?
No,
Huh?
for me, kasi hindi ko naintindihan dito.
Talk your talk, young buck.
The thing that I don't understand in this story is like Trish was acting like Becky and all the other wrestlers were disrespecting her and her era, when in fact all this time they were actually paying tributes to Trish and Lita. So her explanation na yung parang walang gratitude sa kanila, it doesn't make sense to me because all this time we're giving our songs and praises about them.
I have to be the one to explain this, but it made sense because within the context of Becky versus Damage Control, she brought them in not as the same. They don't. She doesn't look at them the same way Bailey looks at Io and Dakota. Trish felt like she was just the sideshow. The sideshow that Becky called because she had no other friends. That was what she was saying. Na sidekick lang kami ni Becky, kami ni Lita, diba? So that's what she didn't like, and I thought she made that pretty clear.
I actually also agree with the message here. Like I like her message. The way she delivered it for me was a little cringy.
And kasi she wasn't ever the best.
Yeah, kaya nga, diba? Tsaka her style is very reminiscent of how she used to deliver promos when the fans weren't as interactive. So gets ko naman yun, diba? Maybe upper promo work a little bit for the 21st century. But the message was there. It was pretty clear to me why she jumped why she jumped Becky Lynch here and
not just that, cost her the titles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole promo thing, she was never the best at that. I think nadala lang niya. You were talking about the Mean Girl character last week, Chino, diba? So that was in full force there, and then she used that to carry the entire promo. That was a long promo, by the way.
Yeah.
She used that to carry the whole thing naturally, naitawid niya, and it made sense. It hit for me.
Sobrang ganda nung entrance ni Trish where yung silhouette niya muna yung nakita natin with the cowboy hat and the long trench coat, which really reminded me of her heyday when she was at her peak as the top heel in the women's division. I loved that visual and it really signaled to me that heel Trish was back in the game.
Magpapaapak ka din ba kay Trish?
Oh naman.
Get in line, man.
Can't say no.
The line starts behind me. The line starts behind me.
Who wore it better, Trish or Brock?
Diba? Trish Stratus, no question.
Okay, ano ba? Are we done about Trish?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, kasi this isn't in the agenda. It's not part of Babyface producer Jasper's slides. But we have time. We are making good time. So I wanted to talk about Cody and Brock. For one thing, I know I rag on Cody a lot here, but yung entire thing where he just came out and challenged Brock to a fight and Brock not giving him the fight and then the security surrounding him and stopping the whole thing from happening, that made me believe in Cody Rhodes as a hero a lot more than anything he did with Roman and the Bloodline. I just wanted to say.
All right. So dapat pala nauna muna yan before
or hindi naman sa nauna, pero I think that if the story with Roman was as simple as this, na this guy wanted to mess with me, so I wanted to fight back against his messing with me, that would have been a lot more palatable for me. I think I acknowledge that the whole multi-layered story that they wanted to tell with Paul Heyman, with Dusty, with
KO and
Sammy, and Roman himself. That was good cinema, yes. But sometimes you also just want to watch the Marvel movie.
That whole Cody thing on Raw was really good as well. And natawa talaga ako sa suot ni Brock on
yeah. Niloot na yung corpse ni Undertaker.
No, back to what Rose said, this makes Cody look more like an underdog you could really cheer for. I think that the pec injury really robbed us of adversity for Cody. Kasi nung pagbalik niya, sakto Rumble na eh.
Yeah.
So wala ka na talaga magagawa. You can't put Brock Lesnar in Cody's way after he just won the Rumble. So in a way, sobrang tight nung schedule. I understand that. Sayang lang, like in an alternate universe where Cody doesn't tear his pec, diba? Maybe the Brock thing could have happened towards the end of 2022 and then nag-bounce back siya in time for the Rumble.
Tsaka tama lang din kasi diba, like was this last week when Rose said na wala pang adversity si Cody Rhodes?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, diba? So it's about when he came back, he was pretty much a top guy to take on Roman. It's like there was no booking from that spot. But now he actually has to face somebody, and that's actually adverse to where he stands, and he's doing a pretty solid job selling this rivalry, considering Brock really hasn't said anything up until this point. Diba? So parang it's pretty one-sided promo-wise, and he's been doing a solid job.
I will say though, I know I'm not a Cody fan here, but if he does lose to Brock, if that's a thing that happens, I think I will jump on the train. Why you burying him like this? That will make me get on your side.
All right, let's cross over to AEW here and talk about Wardlow, who is now a 3-time TNT champion. I actually woke up to a text from my new friend, Coach Mark Dandan of the Bataan Stars, who said, "Eto na naman tayo with TK and ADHD booking. Wardlow is champion again." So that was literally the first thing I saw.
Oh, he did say ADHD booking?
He did say that. Yes.
That is my people.
So what do you guys think about Hobbs having a very short run as TNT champion?
People will say that was always the plan. Like, it's easy for people to defend Tony Khan by saying that was always the plan. I don't know, man. I was getting into it with Hobbs. I still think he was like a sore thumb sticking out of QTV.
Mm-hmm.
But it was entertaining. I enjoy QT's little TMZ setup.
Kahit wala siyang alipore sa tabi.
I still don't think he was a fit, but I liked seeing Hobbs be TNT champion. So, I think Coach was right. Medyo ADHD booking nga siya.
Yeah, plus I don't think Wardlow actually needed it again. Parang, what does it do for him? Diba? If anything, diba? Yeah, what does it do for him? The championship is supposed to elevate the guy who's holding the title, and I think it did more for Powerhouse Hobbs than it ever did, that it's doing for Wardlow right now.
I think they're just stat padding Wardlow's TNT title reign so that they can say he was multiple time champ.
I feel like because people have been kind of down on Wardlow since after the MJF thing, after the Samoa Joe feud, I feel like nawalan. Di naman sa they don't like him, but they do feel sad that the momentum was taken out from under him, and this might be Tony Khan putting the air back in the tire. So that could be it, but this was not the way to go about it.
But for me, he doesn't really need the TNT title. He has moved past that already, and I think at this point he should be challenging other wrestlers or going after the world title. And siguro, I really want them to revisit that feud with MJF, because I don't think that we got the ending I think that we deserved from their feud last year.
Ako yung favorite thing ko from Wardlow's appearance on AEW today is him having Arn Anderson as his manager now, and Arn alluding to his love of the Glock.
He brought out the Glock!
Labas na kaya yan?
Yun yung favorite. Like, Arn Anderson started mentioning the Glock, and I was like, oh boy.
I mean, like,
we're back to 2020.
I mean, like, of all the decades of pro wrestling history, and in places like the American South, nobody's ever thought about bringing a firearm and waving it around at ringside.
Imbis na magpapasa ng chair, papasahan niya ng baril yun.
Wait, baka nakikinig si John Morant.
Like, natawa ako when he did the yung ginano niya yung finger.
Yeah.
Like, that was so fun.
Now that we're encouraging gun violence.
Yeah. It's a real problem in the US.
Yes.
By the way. It's just funny.
Oh. All right. Other stuff going on in AEW. Adam Cole and Britt Baker got beat down together by the JAS and the Outcasts. So this is another example in the same week of two heel factions colluding.
I will say that I did say on the review that Triple H did kind of get that from Tony Khan, if only because TK started doing it first. I guess this makes sense. It did. They did plant the seed last week when Adam Cole came to the aid of Keith Lee, and then Keith Lee was facing Chris Jericho. So may tahi naman, naitawid naman yan ng konti. Whether or not it's a good idea is up in the air, though. People are kind of tired of JAS. They have just been there and causing a racket that people are ready to move on from. So I don't know if the JAS was the right partner for the Outcasts.
Tsaka ang weird, yeah, I agree. Because the JAS, weren't they just in the 6-man championship feud?
Yeah,
Tapos
yeah.
biglang
Oh,
si
yeah,
Adam-
yeah, exactly.
Tapos again, si Adam Cole na kalaban nila. It's like, I didn't really see that coming, but then it happened. I like the execution kasi narinig mo pa si Britt Baker calling
Austin.
calling Adam Cole by his shoot name,
Yeah.
diba?
Siyempre, magjowa sila eh.
So,
Alam namang ring name pa rin tatawag niya.
I mean, ginawa pa ni Johnson and Katie Kimbella? Di ba? Hindi naman.
He did. He called her by her real full name when he proposed.
Yeah, he
in
did.
the ring.
Did he say Nicole or Nikki? I thought he said
Stephanie Nicole
Yeah,
Malachi
he did.
Garcia. Will you marry me is what he said.
Ako lang sa akin. Okay. Sa akin, it was
It is a formative moment in my wrestling fandom.
What, 5 years ago? Jesus
5 years na ba yun?
It's been 5 years.
5 years now?
6 years,
6
actually.
6 years now?
Yeah.
God, so much has happened.
No, honestly, I like that touch. Whether or not it does make sense in the long run, I'm still on wait and see mode for that. I like the interaction though.
This is something that I don't want Adam Cole to be stuck in the JAS JAS universe for as long as other guys like Eddie Kingston and Ricky Starks did. So I want this to just be siguro 2-month feud and then tapos na, and Adam Cole can move on to better things. And yung segment earlier, like parang naawa ko kay Adam Cole when he was saying nung una sinasabi niya like he wants Jericho to hit him.
Yeah.
And then when he realized na they gave it to, kasi he was begging them to stop. That was,
diba? Hit him where it hurts.
Yeah, that
kasi
was
parang,
really-
wrestler ka naman, you can take pain.
Yo,
Pero
that
makita mo yung
was-
jowa ko
that-
getting
yeah.
hurt.
That was very attitude era. Right
Yeah.
there. So
that was
I
really
like
good.
that.
They
It's good
pulled
heel
that
work.
off. Yep.
I will give that to them, right? So yeah, let's go back to WWE and talk about NXT. And this is what I will call my favorite gimmick right now. Nathan Fraser parodying John Oliver with his hard-hitting home truths. I see the Triple H little pun there. It's funny. It's just really funny. It's not really him criticizing anyone, so he's not necessarily being John Oliver. Pero yung execution with the Chiron, the graphics, the set is very John Oliver. Instead, he spouts motivational rhetoric. Right now, medyo babyface pa siya talaga, but I can see them taking it the Mustafa Ali route where he goes all toxic positive.
Yeah, ako nakikita ko nga na maging Fox News siya eh. in that thing.
May British guy ba sa Fox News?
If he's white, could very
That's true. He has a point there.
Diba?
He has a point.
It can very well happen. They probably have like a Fox News adjacent thing in the UK. I wouldn't know, but I'm pretty sure may conservatives din sila doon.
Yeah.
Diba? So it might happen that they take it that route. I didn't really connect it to John Oliver right away kasi nakakatawa si John Oliver and his opinions are very pointed and sharp.
Yeah.
And this one is just like a lot of him. He's just saying what actually happened. So parang hindi ko siya na-connect right away. But I do like that they're giving him a character instead of just making him another flippy guy. It's a good wrinkle in his suit.
It's ironic that they gave him the John Oliver Tonight character because, as you guys know, John Oliver criticized this very company a while back.
Right before WrestleMania 35.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think it's kind of a miss because it's not actually John Oliver's thing.
Yeah.
He's not actually doing John Oliver's thing. He copied the set and yung suot niya, but it's not the same investigative journalism, actual hard-hitting exposés. Diba? So that to me is a miss until they make it right. So if we're talking about John Oliver, I would have rather had a Professor Duncan gimmick here, the creepy drunk British guy.
So you rather he become Noam Dar.
No,
we already have that.
No, di naman ganun si Noam Dar. He is still a hooligan. A Scottish hooligan at that point. Di pa naman siya nagdalasing.
Have we talked about the return of Heritage Rules and the Heritage
we
Cup?
have last week when you weren't here. But I
I'm
think
so happy it's back.
It's confirmed na kasi he brought out the cup last week.
Yeah.
So,
Good stuff. Something to keep an eye out for on NXT. Ikaw, Emil, anything you want to say about Nathan Fraser?
I like his delivery. I like his voice, and it's kind of believable. Siguro if he wants to imitate a late night talk show host, and I'm giving this gimmick a bit of time. first time pa lang to nangyari on NXT.
Yeah.
So maybe this will evolve into something that we will all like.
All right, let's let it cook.
Yep.
We'll take another break. When we come back, we're predicting NXT Spring Break-In, which is happening next week. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts on Podcast Network Asia. All right, we've got 7 advertised matches for NXT Spring Break-In. Before that, sige, let's answer this question from Glendale. Is the NXT Heritage Cup holder considered the NXT Heritage Cup champion?
Yes, kasi Noam Dar specifically said that he was the last champion when NXT UK folded. And he has a title, and they're not taking away the titles. Shawn Michaels did not appear on screen and say, this title is now vacant. We're having a new champion, diba? So, all signs point to him still being the guy.
All right. So yeah, let's go through the predictions here for Spring Break-In. There is a match for Obafemi, who's set to make his debut. He looks like he's going to win this one. So expectations for the big guy.
I don't know if he showed up nung Level Up. I did not catch that too much. But he's a big dude. He looks good. And I think that oftentimes is enough to get you over your debut.
So in NXT naman, especially after the rebrand, you see same type of big guys striving there. So I think he will fit in.
Yeah, same. I think they need, if anything, they need more big guys. For
that's true.
So another big guy to just fill that void, fill that gap is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Next up, you've got a mixed tag match between Brooks Jensen and Kiana James versus Josh Briggs and Fallon Henley. Ito medyo the blind side ako na.
This is like
Burgisa si Brooks.
Yeah, this is like my favorite NXT storyline right now.
To be fair, it's pretty good.
I love a good teleseries story.
It is pretty good.
Magaling umakting si Josh Briggs, ha?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Magaling umiyak eh. Puwit sa nagulat ako.
Naging rom-com, naging drama. Ganda eh. Ganda talaga.
NXT haters and critics like to point to this story for bad acting, quote unquote.
What?
Yeah. Maraming nagsasabi
to
na.
be fair, it's bad acting.
It is kind of like bad acting, but I do enjoy the effort that they put in this entire story. That hindi lang siya wala lang eh. They really put time in. They wrote a whole arc for it.
They gave them the women's tag championship as a story plot.
It's not just something that they threw in. This really has the signs of.
If anything, the performers in it really make the story work. They were given this bone, and they're actually making it work for them to their advantage.
And to be fair, I like porn acting, so this is like porn acting.
It is like porn acting.
Yeah,
exactly.
I enjoy porn acting
without the porn. I am going to side with the heels.
So si Burgis, Brooks Jensen, and Kiana James.
I think I agree because they have been building up Brooks for this role, so I think they're getting the win.
Yeah, same. The heels are winning this one. Ang gusto ko lang i-explain nila is yung paano yung naging transformation ni Brooks from being...
Dude! Ni Kiana James.
Dude! They've been telling your story for months.
Hindi kasi kita ko na lang bigla na.
Do you not believe...
that's the whole point.
Do you not believe...
Yeah,
do you not believe that this guy who believed his girlfriend more than his best friend and their other friend wouldn't live like his new girlfriend?
Have you not simped for anyone like that in your life? Nababaguhin mo yung personality mo, tatalikuran mo yung friends mo.
He's young.
Maging susunod-sunod parang aso.
Yeah, di ba?
Alright, I get it. Okay. But I got the heels winning this one.
Yeah.
Alright, sige, unanimous tayo. Okay, next up, Lyra Valkyria versus Cora Jade.
That's tough kasi they've been doing this push for both women. I do not know who would get it first. They've been pushing Lyra kasi, quite a bit here, but they've also been doing the thing for Cora. So if I were to guess, they do need more heels up top, so Cora might steal this one.
Ako naman, I think Cora can afford to take a loss here. So, kasi established na siya eh. But Lara is someone who's pretty new. So, to establish her, then I'm going with the babyface on this one.
I am also on the fence here kasi Cora just came back. Diba? She just returned. So it's if to give her a loss after her return, especially after they built her up so well, might actually be to her detriment here. I think it doesn't hurt Lyra to take a loss. Hindi pa naman siya nawawala from the limelight. So I'm also gonna say Cora Jade.
I hope this opens people's eyes towards Lyra Valkyria's work because I think she's kind of underrated right now. I also think that if you missed NXT UK, you really missed out on the stuff she did because she was one of the standouts talaga.
But they did do a good job
division.
of showcasing her. Like if you really watch, diba? If you don't know Lyra, like it's not like she wasn't doing. It's not like she's doing wala lang matches.
Di naman siya out of nowhere, so to speak. Yeah. So this one should be fun. Right, next up, you've got Braun Breaker taking on Andre Chase after Duke Hudson made this impassioned speech na parang kala mo siya niya magde-defend sa Chase U. Bilang tinulak yung pangalan ni Andre Chase. And in the most sniveling way possible, the biggest man, Andre Chase. Tawan-tawa ko. That was really good.
That was really good. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Professor Chase. I'm sorry. I mean, clearly, the Braun Breaker winning streak does not end here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna give it to Braun as well.
Yeah, Braun as well. Braun is gonna win this.
Yeah, I just wonder when Andre Chase will finally see na saboteur itong si Duke Hudson. Kasi sobrang bilib na bilib siya kay Duke eh.
Yeah, like nung yung award ceremony, like inuna pa talaga yung award niya before taking care of Andre Chase. So yeah.
All right, next up, you've got a trunk match between Pretty Deadly and the D'Angelo family.
This is like an ambulance match where you put the
losing team in a trunk and then drive off.
Also kind of tougher than it looks, to be fair. Pretty Deadly are boys, but they have been taking L's, and then the family have been just there.
Pero medyo fresh sila off the face turn.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna say just because they're faces now, the family might walk away with the win. Just for the momentum.
It would also be weird if the family ended up in the trunk.
Yeah, diba? Kasi parang signature match nila to, diba?
I have another facet to this. I will say that the family also wins so that Pretty Deadly can get drafted.
Oh, yeah, good one.
Send them packing.
Exactly. Loser leaves in a trunk match.
That's interesting.
I'm also going with the family as well, winning this match.
All right. At the next NXT Women's Championship, Indy Hartwell defends against Roxanne Perez and Tiffany Stratton.
You know what? I would for the lulls, not also for the lulls, because she has improved tremendously. But I would take a look at giving Tiffany Stratton the win.
Yes, I was also gonna say Tiffany Stratton.
We're having a Tiffany epiphany
because
magaling siya.
Magaling siya. Mm-hmm. She makes the best moonsault ever look like the best moonsault.
And the character work is top notch.
So I'm all for giving Tiffany Stratton the win. I don't know if they're willing to do it this early still, but worth a look.
Emil, sorry.
Yeah, I think just giving in the short run of the title is already okay. So, and I also want her to move up na sa main roster. So yeah, I'm going with Tiffany here.
Yeah, I was also gonna say that part. Yeah. So this show is also kind of informed a lot by the upcoming draft.
The sad part here is si Indy mukhang saling pusa in the Roxanne and Tiffany feud.
Oh yeah, just by virtue of being champion. Though.
I mean, yeah, if you were going to give her a goodbye match, naman, diba? What better way than this? Instead of like an honorary goodbye match on the card, it might as well go out on top.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Finally, the NXT Championship match, Carmelo Hayes versus Grayson Waller. Nagustuhan ko yung Grayson Waller effect where Grayson Waller was exposed as really building himself up but having achieved nothing. So like I thought that was great, a great argument from Melo and Trick.
Don't let him hear you that.
No, but like it was such a great way to bring him back down to earth. Yeah. After the braggadocio that he's been just showing everywhere.
This is a bit of a wild question as well. Pero I think whoever loses is going up. So who do we want to go up?
Melo.
I think Grayson kasi is also ready to go up.
I need Grayson to be NXT champ though. I kind of want to see that happen because parang all of the stuff he's done and then for him not to have a championship to show for it, parang nakukulangan ako. That's one man's opinion.
I actually want Melo to retain because I see him holding the title longer than I see Grayson holding the title longer. You know what I mean? Like must I like to see I want to see Melo hold on to the title much longer than like a pay-per-view gap. Kasi mas sayang yung work din niya. Sayang din yung effort niya. He is him, diba? So might as well.
But mawawala ba yung credibility ni Melo if he loses this early in his title reign? No naman, di ba? Like he's still one of the best.
Especially if you have Grayson cheat to win. Diba?
Yeah, exactly. So siguro for a long time I've wanted Grayson to win the title, and he in the feud he had with Braun, that was the moment where I thought that he was gonna get the title. He was gonna be the one to dethrone Braun. So okay, I'm gonna go for Grayson here for the win.
I will say that of all the top guys they have in NXT now, see Melo is the most main roster ready.
Yeah.
I do not know if the main roster needs him now, though, so this is a bit of a tough question for me. But he has been there for quite a while, and he did come in with a lot of experience, and I think na-round out na naman yung game niya, so it's worth a shot. But there's also a good argument for keeping him champion for quite a while. So I can see, I don't know.
Eto, naliwanagan ako. I think Melo retains and Grayson probably moves up just because the Braun and Melo feud just started. Heel turn lang ni Braun eh.
Okay.
And I know they're gonna have to go back there for the championship rematch.
I just don't, or maybe no one moves up. Maybe no one moves up at all. Like Grayson will move up into a place where there's either the Miz or LA Knight, diba? So yun pa. Maybe I'm just wishful thinking and no one really moves up. So in that case, and Melo retains.
So yeah, let us know what you think in the comment section, or if you're listening to this on demand, hit us up on Twitter or on TikTok at Wrestling2XPod. To answer Mon's question, Spring Break-In is a special NXT episode.
Yes.
So that's on your usual Wednesday morning, 8 a.m. slot if you're watching live via the high seas. So there. Before we wrap things up, we're going to be getting to our plugs here. So Chino, what do you have going on in your end?
Next week, we have an American comic, Filipino-Mexican American comic coming to town. His name is Frankie Marcos, no relation. Unless you're a Marcos fan, then there is a relation. Come and buy tickets, please. comedymanila.ph/shows. He will be backed by myself, Der Febrado, and Judd Gregorio doing all English sets. So if you are a foreigner, an expat, you have white friends, my boyfriend kang afam, bring him down to Wicked Dogs BGC, April 29, 9 p.m. Tickets available again at comedymanila.ph/shows. Also, brand new season of the Class Clown podcast is in the works. Please stay tuned for that.
All right. Emil, where can people follow you?
Okay, all right. You can follow me on TikTok at @ML_Meister22. I just post sports opinions. Lalo na now, it's the NBA playoffs, and I love basketball as well.
Galitin ni si Emil.
No, hindi na. And also on Twitter at @ML_Meister.
Follow Emil because those are his reps for the podcast, guys. Yep. So, give him an audience. If you like what he does here, you'll also like what he does for basketball.
Or if you don't like what he does, follow him.
Make him popular.
Hate follow.
Like what happened to Chino on TikTok.
Do it. I dare you. Go. Do it.
As for me, nothing to promote on my end. Kasi si MWF Republica has already sold out as of this week. So you can only watch on the show after it airs, I guess, on MWF's Gank profile. So just go to manilawrestling.com, subscribe to Gank for $10 or around 600, 500 something pesos, whatever it is now. You can pay via credit card, debit card, or GCash, whichever is most convenient for you. And please just support Philippine wrestling and follow us on TikTok as well at Wrestling2XPod.
And if you're going to be on the show and you see us, come say hi.
No, challenges si Rowan for the belt.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever belt he's holding on that.
Yes, sir.
He's gonna have at least one.
For sure. He will not be able to resist having one.
For me, go check out On Deck with Stan C. Latest episode is out with friend of the podcast, Makoy Pare of
Yun.
Machong Chismisan. We got to talk about his run.
Sabi niya, you're scraping the bottom of the radio barrel.
Sabi niya. Pero hindi naman, okay yung kwento niya. Like how he actually made a dent in the local primetime FM radio scene.
He did.
He actually had a main event spot for 2 years and had more sponsorships than I ever could have.
I was there.
So that says a lot.
You were.
That says a lot about what Makoy Pare did in radio. Go check out that episode. And the next week, I've got Nicole Hiala making her return to On Deck with Stan C. So check out that episode when it drops as well. For the podcast, it's at Wrestling Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, on Spotify, TikTok, and Twitter at Wrestling2XPod. Individually, it is at Monday Night Rowan, at EML_Meister, at Roiswar, at Gina Supersize, and at _Stan C. We'll catch you on Sunday for our 9th anniversary special right here at the PNA Studios. We open at 6 p.m. Free shawarma, free coffee, free crepes. Thank you to our sponsors. We got Crep Talk Cafe,
Meshwell Restaurant, and Clyde and Cloy Coffee.
Maraming salamat sa pag-support sa Wrestling Podcast. Thank you to everyone celebrating our 9th anniversary with us. And on behalf of the boys of the podcast, happy 420. Stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast out. Bye-bye.
Peace.